Good evening. How is everyone doing tonight? Welcome to a little bit more of an interesting episode of Talking Heads, episode 59. I'm Jeff. No one else is here. Welcome to the show, everyone. So, yesterday everyone was fine. Me and my wife actually went on a date night last night. We went to a local cafe that we really enjoy, had some really good food, had a couple of cocktails. Went over to 1859 Cider Co. in downtown Salem. Did a full flight of tasters over there. That was a... Oh, hold on. Are we muted? I might be muted. Gosh darn it. Are we muted? Hold on. Can you hear me? Yes or no? Am I on? No, I'm on. Okay. Who says mute? What? Why are you freaking me out like that? Anyway, we went to 1859 Cider Co. in downtown Salem, had a full flight of ciders. Everyone was feeling good last night. This morning, about 4 in the morning, my 18-month-old woke up and threw up all over her bed. My wife wasn't feeling all that well. I'm not feeling all that well. John texted me maybe an hour later and said, he's not feeling well. He can barely move. He can't even talk. So we almost canceled. But I decided it's kind of a slow news week anyway. There's only a couple newsworthy things for talking about. And I figured, you know what? I'm doing well enough. So I'm going to do the show. We're going to do a couple news items real quick. After about 20 minutes, we're going to open the floor up. We're going to open it up to your questions and just let them fly. The show will be yours. I'm going to start off, though, in honor of basically everyone that I know getting sick in the last couple of days. I'm going to make my two favorite cold remedies for you guys. We're going to start tonight with a hot toddy. It's basically whiskey, honey, and lemon, and it's absolutely fantastic. I haven't decided on a whiskey yet, though. I think I'm going to do an Irish whiskey. I think I'm going to do a Jameson. Alright, I'm back. Sorry, my one bottle is almost empty, so I had to grab the full one just in case. Okay. Let's have a hot toddy. So, start with a glass. God, this sounds like a Verge video all of a sudden. To build a computer, you need a table. Alright, so... the way I make a hot toddy is I do 3 ounces of whiskey. Good thing I grabbed the second bottle, because that one's completely empty. If only I'd prepared my whiskey earlier. Alright. So I'm going to do a pretty heavy hot toddy tonight. I want 3 ounces. So there's 1.5. There's another 1.5. All right. Honey-wise, we do 2 bar spoons full of honey. So I get my bar spoon there. And this is 100% honey from a local farm. We go out and buy it every once in a while. There's one. That's going to take a minute. Really should have added the lemon first so I don't have to peel the honey off my spoon here. There's 2. What are you guys drinking tonight? Let me know down in the comments. I'm always curious to find out what you guys are drinking. All right. We're going to do the same amount of lemon. Lemon juice. In my case, I'm just using pre-squeezed. Usually you just squeeze a lemon and call that good. So 2 bar spoons of lemon juice. Doesn't take a whole lot. There we go. And then about 1 cup of hot water. Or 3/4 if you want it a little stronger. I think I'm going to do 3/4. There we go. Stir that around. Now you can add a cinnamon stick if you want. You can do a squeeze of lemon. You can do a lemon rind. There's a lot of different ways to garnish this. I'm just going to drink it just like that. And there you have a hot toddy. Still a very, very hot toddy. I put boiling water in my thermos. And actually, that's a little bit light on the lemon for me, maybe. When you're using Irish whiskey is quite a bit thinner and doesn't blend with quite as many flavors. And so adding the lemon and the honey doesn't really express the Irish whiskey flavors all that much as like a bourbon or a rye would. That's actually pretty good. Might even be a little light on the honey. I don't know. We'll let it settle. It's still a little warm. Maybe that's what I'm tasting. Anyway, what are you guys drinking tonight? The blood of virgins. Thanks, Reverend. Water. It's Wednesday here. Yeah, it's Wednesday here too. Mountain Dew, aka Nerd Fuel. WD-40. Let's see. Tonight I'm just having some plain old Steelman's Original Draft. My favorite Jameson is Gemma. Good joke. Good joke. All right, let's get into a little bit of news tonight. So everyone is pretty much aware of the wildfires that have been down in California. This has been pretty much the most... some of the most devastating wildfires the state of California has ever seen, and that's kind of understating the problem down there. I believe the Camp wildfire alone, there were 58 people who have been killed and 250 plus that were still missing as of, I think, yesterday. So very, very devastating fire. There was an entire town of 27,000 people that was just wiped off the map. Anyway, Sierra Nevada Brewery out of Chico, California, right around the area where all this has happened. They have decided that they are going to do everything they can to help. What they're doing is they are brewing what they're calling Resilience IPA, Butte County Proud IPA. And they are going to sell this at retail, and 100% of the proceeds go to relief efforts for the campfire. Not only that, Sierra Nevada has contacted and gotten yes, we want to help from over 400 breweries across the state or across the country. And all 400 of those breweries will be brewing the same recipe and selling this nationwide and donating 100% of the proceeds to the campfire relief effort. So I usually don't get into... I don't like to talk about political news or happenings just in the state. I usually try to keep things very tech-focused or beer-focused. But in this case, Sierra Nevada, one heck of a not only a gesture for your local community, but for everyone that was affected by this. And the fact that 400 breweries across the country have signed on and are willing to use their facilities, brew the beer, distribute it, sell it, and then are still donating 100% of the proceeds back. That is absolutely amazing. Very, very cool effort being flagshipped by Sierra Nevada here. So they definitely deserve a shout out. They deserve your business. And if you see Resilience IPA on the shelves, go pick it up. There's also a number of hop farms and malt distributors that are going to be trying to provide the raw ingredients to breweries who are doing this free of charge or at very, very reduced costs. so they can brew this beer and get it out quickly. So very, very cool stuff. Let's see. Someone's drinking Kool-Aid. Let's see. Air quality was so bad, had to wear a mask out in public. Yeah, even up here in Oregon, it was getting a little dicey. Not quite as bad as it was last year. Last year was as worse as I've ever seen it in Oregon. But this year, towards the fall, we were still getting smoke up here in the valley. So, let's see. Yeah, Reverend, not gonna lie, shed a manly tear when I saw their statement. I did the same thing. Like I said, there's some relief efforts out there, like, 10% of proceeds go towards. Yeah, you're doing that as a tax write-off. Doing a 100% of proceeds that is donating your time, effort, resources, etc. to a good cause. And not only Sierra Nevada, but the fact again that 400 breweries are doing the exact same thing. They're not donating 5 or 10 or 15% of the profits, or some of the proceeds go to camp relief effort. But the fact that when it's 100%, you're not taking profits, you're not taking anything from this, you're giving 100% back to the community in the way that you can. So very, very cool. As critical as I am of companies sometimes, when companies do right, I really, really like to champion them because they deserve every bit of it when they do right. So Sierra Nevada, you done right. And for those who are still missing, we do hope the best for you guys and your families. So, all right. This is fantastic, by the way. That sore throat's starting to feel better already. Whew, yeah. All right. What else do we have? That was really the only beer news I had to get to today. Let me pull up my list here. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the fallout from Fallout 76. Because every time I seem to get onto any gaming publication or even Reddit, there seems to be some other way that Bethesda ZeniMax has bungled this whole launch. The game is nearly not playable. There's numerous broken quests. People are getting kicked offline. There's game-breaking bugs that are preventing players from playing. Every single patch is a complete reissuance of the game. So if you're on a limited bandwidth internet connection or limited data internet connection, and you downloaded it day one, and it was a 56 gig download, and they had a day one patch that was another 56 gigs, and they had a day two patch that was another 40 gigs, and they had a day three patch was another 56 gigs, and then they had a day four patch was another 60 gigs. Who's actually playing this? Where, you could max out your data allowance in a couple of days just trying to get online and play a game, which is absolutely ridiculous. Probably the funniest story that I've heard come out of all of this is this one here, if I can not spill my newly made drink. My character is currently unkillable, begins Reddit user Brogadin. And I mean really unkillable. She can even eat a nuke blast to the face and be fine. There is literally zero way to die, and zero ways that she can even die if I wanted her to, which I very much would like to do at this point. So a Fallout 76 player yearns for the sweet embrace of death. Bethesda has been absolutely mum on a response to this bug. To the player's credit, quote, "I've had to limit myself to boring activities because I don't want my exploration or PvP aspect ruined by my god mode. And the annoying thing is that at some point I'm going to have to just not care if they cannot fix it. My character is currently nearly level 100 and just hit the cap limit. So what the heck am I supposed to do besides actually starting to make all content in-game trivial? I'm really frustrated and have no idea what I'm supposed to do. It seems they can't even slay my character for me. Or at least they didn't mention that, even though that's practically what I was begging for in the ticket. I'm unsure if it was a person replying or simply some automated answer." So, as bad of an issue as hackers are going to be in this game, if hackers even ever decide to play the game, there's some players who literally cannot die. And that's really crazy. moving on further into the Reddit streams. By the way, I found that one on Monday and was just going to touch on that. There was a post on Tuesday that Bethesda Game Studios' deceptive trade practices are under investigation, which caught my eye. It turns out there's a law firm in DC, Miclaccio and Rathod, that are asking players who purchase the game what potential issues they've had with the game and if they've asked for Bethesda for a refund on the game. And they are considering deceptive trade practices investigation up to and including a potential class action lawsuit. I did a fair amount of reading on the subject, and as I was preparing this, one of my favorite YouTubers, Lawful Masses with Leonard French, if you have not checked out his channel, he is a very interesting watch. He is a copyright attorney that will go around the country and just break down copyright cases or just random cases that he encounters. You may have seen a breakdown that he did recently with Louis Rossmann with his seized Apple goods. Here he is again investigating, or at least breaking down from a lawyer's perspective, in this case, a copyright lawyer's perspective. So something who he's not really trained on, but he can at least break down the legalese so we can understand it. He did a phenomenal breakdown late Monday night about this whole saga. So if you're interested in that video, it's about an hour and 20 minutes long. It's down in the video description. I absolutely recommend checking out his channel. Not sponsored. I haven't even talked to him ever. I just really enjoy his channel, and he does a phenomenal breakdown of basically the problems that Bethesda has had at launch with Fallout 76, of all of the problems since, a lot of the Reddit posts, a lot of the different bugs that he himself has experienced in the game as he bought the game. And he also goes in and breaks down the EULA to see if there's potential lawsuit, if there is any lawsuit potential within the end-user license agreement. So, as part of this whole thing, Bethesda did release an official statement early this morning on Reddit, on the our Fallout 76 subreddit, communication moving forward. We know you are frustrated and angry at the state of things right now, whether it's issues you're running into in the game or the lack of communication about fixes, updates, or news. To be clear, this account is run by us, Bethesda Game Studios community team. Yada, yada, yada. Please take a look and see at what we're posting today on Fallout.com. And as always, if you have any questions or thoughts or feedback, this article covers high-level issues being worked on, as the patch notes will go into length on what's being fixed with each update. So they are planning on a December 4th update, which is a stash limit increase, boss loot, cryolator effects, respawning when over-encumbered, and stuck in power armor, which are some of the more minor glitches. December 11th is PC editions, which allows you to enable push to talk, so you don't have to have your microphone on the whole time, because who wants to do that? Respecial specs, so after level 50, you'll be able to add new perk cards. Camp placement on login, and bulldozer, so you'll be able to get rid of rocks, trees, stumps, etc. For building your camp. And that's really all they mentioned, aside from minor patches and bug fixes. Bethesda content isn't the problem right now. The problem is the game is literally broken. The problem is your login servers are broken. The problem is your game itself is broken. You're missing textures throughout the game. You have quests that break. You have a multiplayer experience in which 3 or 4 players who are playing it can end a quest depending on what order they grabbed an item in. You have weapons that are being bugged out. We expect games to have bugs at launch. What we don't expect is a 100% broken experience. And at this point, that's what we have. And that's why this law firm is considering class action lawsuit. That's why they are investigating the potential of it. If you're interested in how to get a refund, again, down in the video description, check out Leonard French's video. They read through the EULA, and according to the EULA, Bethesda is required to pay for, oh gosh, drawing a blank on the term now. Not lawsuit, but shoot, where's it at? Oh, why am I drawing a blank on the name now? Arbitration. Excuse me. Arbitration. In the end-user license agreement, Bethesda agrees to pay for arbitration, which if you've ever done arbitration is about $2,000. Now, you have to pay for your own lawyer's fees and your own expert witnesses if you plan on bringing those to arbitration. But basically, you send in writing a letter to Bethesda with whatever your legal claim is. You give them 45 days to process it. After 45 days, if they have not responded to you, you say, I would like to go to arbitration. Bethesda is required by the end-user license agreement to take you to arbitration at their expense in your local jurisdiction, as long as you live in the U.S. or London or Sydney. Those are the... So anywhere in the U.S., in the United States, and then you have to either be in London or Sydney or be able to travel there. But that's in the end-user license agreement. It's on their dime. For them to cover court costs and arbitration. So if you're interested in how to get a refund, that's how you get a refund from them right now, is submit a claim in writing and then threaten arbitration. Leonard French has a much better explanation of it down in the video description. And just when I thought it couldn't get any worse this morning, gosh, I can't believe again, every time I log in, there's more and more that I find with the Fallout 76 launch that is just terrible. This was a Reddit post this morning where the advertised bag that came with the Fallout 76 Special Edition, over here on the left, we see it's a really nice canvas bag with the power armor helmet and yada yada, and the collectible figurines and whatnot. Over on the right, we see that it comes with a vinyl bag or a nylon bag. Vinyl bag would be weird. In the official response, and by the way, this response email is from Bethesda. There was a mod over in the R Gaming subreddit that took a look at the MX records for this, at the MX request records. This did originate from Bethesda's servers. This did originate from Bethesda.net or ZeniMax.net or whatever their Bethesda.net, excuse me. From Bethesda Gear Help Desk, hello, we are sorry that you're not happy with the bag. The bag shown in the media was a prototype and was too expensive to make. We aren't planning on doing anything about it. End response. So it's not bad enough that the game is broken. It's not bad enough that the servers are broken. It's not bad enough that there's nearly a class action lawsuit brewing in the wings. Even though that's against the EULA, there are still consumer protections in place that may allow a class action lawsuit to go forward. They're even falsely advertising what comes in the collector's edition to save a couple of bucks. And by the way, this didn't exceed the $200 retail price of this. This is what is a $3 bag versus a $2 bag. This is ZeniMax literally cheaping out on what you get in a $200 purchase for the enthusiasts of this game. To gain an extra dollar from you. These bags are not that expensive to produce, especially when you mass produce them. There are shops in Shenzhen and China that will produce these for a couple of dollars a piece for you. I bought brand new on Amazon a very similar bag for my camera with camera internals and whatnot for about $7 for an actual canvas bag. They are not that expensive to produce and ship. And the fact that they say they are too expensive to make, boy, if you wanted to piss off an already pissed off fan base, you are succeeding right now. So, that's what I have on ZeniMax Bethesda Fallout 76. Sounds like No Man's Sky all over again. No Man's Sky was a broken game where it kind of underdelivered, but at least the game was functional. It underdelivered on features, but if you dug, the features were kind of there. They weren't as robust as promised, but Fallout Sky, or No Man's Sky, Fallout Sky. Wow, that's an interesting game. No Man's Sky was not a broken game. It was a game that was very, very light on the feature set, but it still delivered the feature set. The planets were procedurally generated. The creatures were procedurally generated. You could fly your ship. You could fly your ship from the ground to orbit. You could do this. You could do that. You could mechanically do all the things that it promised. What is here is a broken game that does not deliver on promises. That is almost breach of contract level for what was promised versus what is delivered. And that's the issue that is going to come to fruition with potential lawsuits coming. I love the Fallout series, but the game sounded terrible from the announcement, and I agree with that. Now it's just funny how unbelievably awful it has turned out to be. You can probably take them to small claims court. You absolutely can. That's actually one of the options in there is to sue them in small claims court, because they are required to respond, and if they don't respond, judgment will be awarded to you. So that is another option. Again, the easier option is probably just threatening arbitration with them, because they'd rather pay you $60 or $80 or $200 to refund your money than they would pay one arbitration claim, which would be about $2,000 out of pocket for them, plus travel for them, because I doubt they have anyone living local in my local county. You can write anything in the EULA. The law trumps contract. Law trumps contract, absolutely, which is why I said they claim you cannot do mass lawsuits or do anything at large. But if consumer protections laws take place, that nullifies the EULA. What the EULA does is it states how ZeniMax will respond to claims and how you should respond to claims and how to contact their legal department and so on and so forth. So as far as how do you make a claim, the EULA is your guideline on how to do that. As far as the next steps with that claim, that's where if it says, sorry, you waived your right to an attorney, well, legally I don't waive my right to an attorney and you can't make me do that. So that's a regulation in the EULA that would be thrown out. And again, if this reaches class action status for false marketing or false pretense or breach of implied contract, that would override the EULA, not allowing you to proceed with a class action lawsuit. So yes, you're right in concept, but the context of what's going on is a little bit different than that. If you accept the EULA, you can sue, but it makes things more difficult. It depends on when you accepted the EULA, because let's say you pre-ordered the game, in which case the EULA was not public at that time. Then you downloaded the game, and you agreed to the EULA, and then after you download and start the game, you found out the game was broken. There are consumer protections in the States that allow you to skirt past the EULA for breach of implied contract. Now, when I buy a good or a service from a company, I expect what is advertised on that product to be delivered to me in some way, shape, or form. Whether the quality is there or not, I expect at least what was written on there to be delivered to me. If ZeniMax was unable to deliver those goods and services to me, as in I cannot log into the game, my game is irreparably broken, as in the case of God Mode, that is a breach of implied contract by ZeniMax, in which case you could just walk right over the EULA because you have consumer protection at that point. Again, I'm not a lawyer. Leonard breaks this down way better than I ever could hope to. Ooh, as it cools down a little bit. Oh, that is so good. Ah. Ooh, yummy. All right. Let's see. Con Carnegie on Twitch said that Bethesda has reached out to him and other streamers to have a summit meeting with all of them about the issues, amongst other things, with Fallout 76. He mentioned it during his last Fallout 76 broadcast on Monday afternoon. I'm sure Bethesda's basically going into full damage control mode at this point. Really, the last couple of days, I've seen them trying to reach out and trying to make things better. But again, anything they say, any official claim from Bethesda, either on Twitter or on social media, Reddit, etc., those are official statements, and they can be taken as official statements by stockholders. They can be taken as official statements from the company. That one with the vinyl bag is really an embarrassing smudge mark for them. But they want to tread lightly right now as far as communication, because anything that they say, kind of like when you're being arrested, can abuse them in a court of law if there's pending lawsuits on the way. So they need to make sure they're not over-promising in the days following the launch of this game, and they don't want to admit any wrongdoing either. They can admit poor communication, but they don't want to admit that the game is broken. And if you notice in that Reddit thread, they did not admit the game is broken. They said bug fixes and patch fixes are coming, and here's some features that we're adding to the game or enabling within the game. They did not mention game-breaking bugs or quest-breaking bugs or unable to log in or features not working as intended. Outside of minor bug fixes. So they were very careful in that statement. That's one thing I wanted to point out as well. At Craft Computing, what is the bigger dumpster fire right now, Bethesda or Blizzard? Bethesda by far. You can poo-poo Blizzard all you want. You can say they put their foot in their mouth. You can say they're not giving fans what they want. They don't have to. People are mad right now because mobile games and pay to win and all that kind of thing, those are really faux pas in the gaming industry, especially right now. And again, I said this, all they had to do was show Diablo Immortal and do the whole trailer and do the whole stage thing and then pull an apple and go, oh, and one more thing, and go Diablo 4, and then fade to black and everyone loses their freaking minds. And Blizzard is the best thing ever, and we'll wait 4 years for Diablo 4 to come out. All they had to do was literally put the title on the stage, and none of this would have been a problem. So we know Diablo 4 is coming. They said before BlizzCon that that there's multiple Diablo titles in the works today. We are not going to be announcing our main Diablo title at BlizzCon. Unfortunately, they announced that very late. Unfortunately, that didn't get to a lot of people, and the people who are going to BlizzCon, who paid thousands of dollars to attend BlizzCon, if all they announced was a mobile game, I'd be pretty ticked off too. But at the same time, they announced World of Warcraft Classic. They announced Warcraft 3 reboot. They announced a whole bunch of other things that a lot of people might be genuinely interested in, myself included. I played Diablo 1 and 2. I never played 3. As much as I liked the first couple of games, I never played 3. It just never really intrigued me or grabbed me the way I thought it would. But at the same time, I loved Warcraft 3, and I can't wait to play the remastered version of that when I finally get a chance to. So Blizzard, they put their foot in their mouth a little bit. They're not servicing the fans as well as they should, but the fans are upset about vaporware right now, and that's kind of a hard thing to quantify. Fallout 76, there's 100,000 people who bought Fallout 76 who are legitimately pissed off that they spent $60 or $80 or $100 or $200 on a game they can't play right now, or is broken beyond belief. And the people who are defending Fallout 76, oh, I love the Fallout series so much, I just wanted to play the new game, and I don't care if it's glitchy, da-da-da. Vote with your damn wallet. Don't take this crap. Don't accept this crap from a company. If they're not providing the product that they promised, don't give them your money. If you gave them their money, take your money back. Stand up. Don't accept this kind of crap, because when you pay them money, you're telling them that this is okay, that this is fine for status quo, that you are okay with this arrangement of them delivering a broken, underperforming game. I'm as big a Fallout fan as anyone. I've played since the originals. I thought Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4 were all fantastic games, all in their own right, whether or not you claim true Fallout game or not. I didn't enjoy Fallout New Vegas nearly as much as a lot of people did. Yeah, the story was a little bit better, but I thought the gameplay was very, very bland throughout. It was very linear, it was very flat, there was no exploration, there was nothing that really wowed me about that game, as funny as the dialogue was. I thought Fallout 3 was a better game. Come hate me, bro. And then I thought Fallout 4 was great as well. They took out some of the RPG elements, but the gameplay itself was more intriguing. It was more interesting. It was more dynamic gameplay. There were some RGB or RPG elements within that game, and I thought it was a better shooter, and that was enjoyable. So again, would I call it the best Fallout game ever? No, I probably wouldn't, but it was a fun game. Fallout 76 looks like a dumpster fire. It looked like a dumpster fire from the beginning. When people started beta testing it, when people got early looks at it, they said, wow, there's nothing to do here. And the quests are literally go to this terminal, click a button, go to this terminal, and click another button. And hey, look, I turned in and I got 70 experience, and now I can whatever with my character. It looks so linear and so boring and not story driven. And the people who are defending it, why? Yeah, I enjoy Fallout 2, but I'm not going to pay $60 for a broken game. All right. Yum. Let's see. What else we got? New Vegas had an entire open world compared to 3, which had much more of a painting of pathing than thing going on, and that's my opinion. And I will say New Vegas was a bigger world, and they had some more cities in them, but I thought it was much more bland. Vegas, I thought, was terrible. Because for Vegas, you got 4 buildings, or four casinos, only 3 of which were on the main strip, 1 of which was off the main strip. You got kind of the slums of Vegas, and that was it. And that was like 4 rooms that you could walk in, including the Elvis impersonator. And outside of that, there was nothing. That's not Las Vegas. Las Vegas is like 7 miles long. Just like the main strip. It's huge. So I thought they under-delivered on the promise of New Vegas. And I know there's game engine limitations and whatever. Let's talk about their creation engine another time. But I thought it was an ambitious title, but I thought the gameplay itself, the act of actually walking around the map, was very, very boring in New Vegas as compared to Fallout 3. I thought the DC monument area where you're actually standing in front of the White House and the Lincoln Memorial and the Washington Tower and everything else, I thought those were very, very interesting. That was a pretty dynamic area with all the whatchamacallit. Yeah. Pits, trenches dug through there, and the super mutants kind of taken hold there and whatnot. I thought that was a much more intriguing environment than anything that Fallout New Vegas offered. Yeah, I see you on there, Damon. I see ya, little bastard. All right. Let's see. Never pre-order anything. Exactly. Don't pre-order. There's no point in the modern economy to pre-order anything. There's no point to order anything without reviews at this point. Even hardware reviews. You knew to be guarded for RTX, and people bought RTX cards and they went, wow, they're only performing as the same as the tier directly below the RTX cards. Yeah, if you would have waited for reviews, you would have known that. Wow, Fallout 76 is a broken game. Yeah, if you waited for reviews, you probably would have known that. Wow, Vega 64 draws a heck of a lot of power. Yeah, if you waited for reviews, you probably would have known that. So, yeah, don't pre-order. Don't pre-order anything. And I'm sure I don't need to tell my audience that. So, all right. What else do we have? Any other questions? Ooh, that's good. Let's see. LOL, nope. Just wait 3 or 4 months after release. To be honest, it's the proper way. And honestly, if you could just wait 3 or 4 months after release of a game, you're going to get it for a better price anyway. So spending $60 at release for a lot of modern games doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm not buying Battlefield 5. I'm not buying Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I'm not buying a lot of different games until probably get them on a Steam sale or something else. I will say I did order Red Dead Redemption 2 on release day. I downloaded it, played it on release day. But I felt that one was a pretty safe bet. Rockstar has really never under-delivered a game. In fact, they've under-promised and over-delivered in a lot of different aspects repeatedly. And they have earned my business. They have earned my right to buy a game on release without hearing very many reviews or very much feedback on a game. Wow. Okay. So Bethesda just made an official statement on their Power Armor bag. When was this? At 10:20. So about 20 minutes ago, 20 minutes, maybe an hour ago. Fallout 76, or Fallout's official Twitter, @Fallout. We understand and respect that there is some disappointment with the bag in the Power Armor Edition. We are sorry. Please contact Bethesda support to provide proof of your CE purchase. They will assist in granting your account 500 atoms, so 500 in-game currency, because we gave you a vinyl bag instead of a canvas bag. That's horseshit. Quite honestly. That is... because that doesn't cost him a damn thing. It doesn't cost him a damn thing. Wow. Wow. Where can I get that Klingon display? That is actually part of the lcars47.com. Go to www.lcars47.com. That is part of their package. There's... I use it quite a bit. Turn off my desktop icons there. There we go. This is my normal display that I show with the LCARs, and it's actually fully interactive. I can click on a whole bunch of different things on here. I can go to mission ops. I can go to weapon systems. We can bring up our tactical array. We can go back to LCARs. So there's a lot of different things. There's the Klingon. You can be taken over by the Borg. There we go. Let's see what else is there. I think there's a Cardassian interface. Yeah, so we got a DS9 interface. And some of these are very early prototypes. So this is all you get. It's just kind of a static display. So there's the Klingon. There we go. Might as well be Bitcoin. Nice. Craft Computing, when do I expect Zen 2 to hit the market? I expect it to hit the market late March, early April. Late Q1, early Q2. I don't have that on any official basis. That's when I expect it. Saw you were streaming, then joined AMD and noticed that there was no John and was disappointed. There wasn't even a co-host, and I was more disappointed, but I'm still here after 35 minutes. Yeah, pretty much everyone is sick. John is sick. My wife is sick. My 18-month-old daughter is sick. I'm a little bit sick. I've got a bit of a sore throat, thus the hot toddy. And so I just decided to kind of do it a solo tonight. So we did about 20 minutes of news, and then just Q&A, just whatever you guys want to talk about. Let's see. Red Dead Redemption 2 looks amazing. It is absolutely amazing. I'm playing it on the Xbox One launch edition, so pretty much like the worst edition of the game. I'm playing it in like 870p at like 28 FPS if I'm really lucky. I still love the game, and I still play it almost every day if I can. Don't on the console. Hopefully it will come to PC. I guarantee this is going to come to PC because Grand Theft Auto 5 has been a cash cow for Rockstar, and they would be stupid not to bring it to PC. The reason Red Dead Redemption 1 was not brought to PC was because the game was literally so buggy it was held together with baling wire and shoestring. So it worked on consoles, but as soon as they tried to port it to PC and use other hardware, the whole thing just broke, and they were never able to do it. What I hope is that technically the whole land of New Austin and Mexico are in the game. What I hope is that the Red Dead Redemption 1 remaster comes out using the Red Dead Redemption 2 engine and is playable as a downloadable content for like $30 or $50, or hell, I'd pay $60 to get Red Dead Redemption 1 on PC using the RDR2 engine. Totally would. Let's see. Made me remember Rockstar offering $500,000 GTA dollars for problems in GTA Online years ago. You can do that in about 4 hours, no compensation. Yeah, exactly. Whenever someone offers in-game currency, they're offering you literally nothing. You're using Disney bucks at a Caesar's Palace, to quote Rick and Morty. So don't accept that. Don't accept that. That didn't cost them anything. They're saying, oh, please go away. No, don't accept that. You as a consumer have rights. You as a consumer paid your money to them. And make no bones about it, they're making money hand over fist a lot more than you are for this game. So, and don't take it out on the developers. The developers are just doing whatever they're told. Take it out on ZeniMax proper. Take it out on Bethesda themselves. Don't take it out on random developers you find online. So be nice. Be demanding, but be nice. So by the time Red Dead Redemption 2 comes to PC, Cyberpunk 2077 will be out, so I'll forget about RDR. Yeah, that's possible. I will wait on 2077. Quite honestly, The Witcher 3 told a great story. The Witcher series tells great stories. I've always been a little bit disappointed with the gameplay on them. They seem, the controls seem jerky to me. It's weird. Like nothing is fluid within the game, as fluid as I think it should be. It feels like I'm playing a Devil May Cry game when I'm playing that, as far as the game goes. Now it's obviously way better story than Devil May Cry, but that's always been what it felt like to me. It is just like a pretty looking Devil May Cry. So, just caught a cold here and it's raining like crazy. Yep, here too. I think we've got 1.5 inches of rain in the last day and a half or something like that. I've got a 1S and feel that because and I feel that's how I played it. How do I feel about AMD and NVIDIA both suffering from post-crypto? I don't think crypto had much to do with this. I think NVIDIA over-ordered GPU from their fabs. And right now, NVIDIA's overstocked on Pascal cards. Their projections don't look good because RTX is kind of underperforming for what people wanted. They're still trying to unload Pascal cards. So their RTX cards are well overpriced. I've said this before. I think they're going to liquidate their Pascal series cards. And then they're going to drop the price, maybe one whole rank on Turing cards. So you'll get an RTX 2070 for $450. You'll get an RTX 2080 for $600 or $700. And you'll get the RTX 2080 Ti for $800 or $900. I think they're going to drop one whole tier on that. But it's a lack of good-looking projections for investors. And honestly, I don't know why AMD dropped. There's no reason AMD should have dropped because they are kicking absolute ass in just about every market that they're trying. The only one that they're not yet is graphics cards, and I think graphics cards are right around the corner. So, yeah, I don't know why AMD's stock dropped because their future looks nothing but bright. If anything, Intel stock should have dropped, and that still hasn't, and that's really freaking stupid. Bethesda appears to be using the Ferengi method of take their money and never get, or once you have their money, never give it back. That's exactly right. Ferengi rules of acquisition. Once you have their money, never give it back. I forget which rule that is. 94? Let's see. Sitting on a fat 10 series. I'm sitting on a bunch of 10 series. I don't have an RTX card yet. I do want an RTX card to at least start demoing Turing. I find it fascinating what they're trying to do with Turing. Whether or not it's actually going to be successful, I don't know. Let's see. Red Dead Redemption could get a remastered version, but it's not 10 years old just yet, and GTA 4 didn't get a remaster. The GTAs have never gotten a remaster, and I don't think they ever plan on doing those, because the gameplay after 6 years doesn't hold up as well as it should. Have you ever tried to go back and play GTA 3? That is not a game that I want to play recently. I even bought it on mobile. I was going to play it on when I had an iPhone. And I tried playing that game, and it was a horrible experience. Now, it was great when it came out in, 2001, 2002? But modern day, it doesn't hold up. The gameplay mechanics don't hold up in that game. Same thing with San Andreas. And even GTA 4 is starting to show some age. Now, I would like a remastered GTA 4 because there were some modern mechanics that are in there that I think could just go with a little bit of polish. But the voice acting was well behind its time. The main voice acting was good for the main storylines, but all of the side missions were terribly acted. The animations were terrible in those as well. So, yeah, you could add some better textures to it, but at the same time, I can just I can download some texture packs for PC or add some different effects, shader effects and whatnot. I don't know that it's worth it for Rockstar to produce that game. So I don't think we're going to see any GTAs remastered because they take 5 or 6 years in between. With Red Dead Redemption, I think there would be some meat on the bone there for Red Dead Redemption 1 to be re-released on PC using the new engine. So basically import all your character assets, import all your animations, all of your other things. Even use the modern animations and just retool them. And all your voice acting files and whatnot, all your camera angles, because those should probably translate over just fine. And then fix your bugs within the game. And I think that would be fairly easy to do from a development standpoint, and not sack your development team. I really hope AMD will release a more powerful APU. I believe that there's possibly something in the works with a Vega 20, although I'm not sure what kind of licensing deal they have with Intel to produce the Vega 20 on the, what is that, the 8809G for Intel's APU that uses the Vega 20 on mobile. So I'm not sure if they sold rights to literally sell their own Vega 20 integrated GPU on a mobile chip, desktop chip. That'd be very interesting to find out. And now they're producing the Vega 20 for Apple as well. So that's an interesting thing to keep an eye out for if that ever makes it to a general release for PC. Want Bully to be remastered on a new engine? I would rather not see Bully remastered. I'd just rather see a new release in the series. Because you know Rockstar is going to do an amazing job with it. GTA 4 looks horrible. Yeah, exactly. GTA 4 looked good for the day, but it still had some immersion-breaking things at the time. Like I said, the voice acting in all of the non-main storylines were terrible. And the animations were bad for a good chunk of the game. The main gameplay was fine, but all of the side things and all of the extra things that we come to expect from GTA 5 and now Red Dead Redemption 2 and even Red Dead Redemption 1, they weren't there in GTA 4 yet. GTA 1 is still fun, but very different from 5. Yeah, GTA 1 is a completely different game, and that actually holds up. That 2D game holds up. That top-down is way better modern day than it is going back to a very early release of a 3D game. There's very few early release 3D games that hold up well. Games like Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight hold up very well. They had some modern mechanics to them, as well as the original Quakes and some very early first-person shooters. And then you have games like the original Mario 64, very early 3D platformers that hold up well, Banjo-Kazooie, things like that. There are some other games from that era that do not hold up nearly as well. The original Turok is a modern-day dumpster fire. As is some of the early GTAs, the GTA 3, GTA San Andreas. And as fun as Vice City was, and as good as the music is, and the environment is in that game, that's on the same engine, and there's no difference between those games. So yeah, there's games that just don't hold up throughout the years, and unfortunately I think Bully is one of them, and GTA is one of them, or GTA 3, that whole series is one of them. So those don't need a remaster, those just need to be good for what they were and then move on. Do you want to live in nostalgia or do you want to live with new experiences? I would rather stop seeing so many dang reboots. I'm looking at you, Spider-Man. Satellite of Discontent, 5 Australian. Nice. Intel shortages, sales down for board partners, Nvidia stocks down, price hikes and tariffs. The PC master race is in for tough times. What do you think? I think the future is way brighter moving forward because AMD is looking like it's going to be a juggernaut here in the next year or two. Starting next year, they are going to be going toe-to-toe with Intel, and they may be going toe-to-toe with Nvidia very shortly as well. So keep a very close eye on AMD. The reason we've been in kind of this non-development state for quite a while outside of NVIDIA is because AMD had no competition. NVIDIA didn't need to fight anyone, and Intel didn't need to fight anyone. NVIDIA was still developing good things, but they had 3 graphics cards sitting in their labs that they didn't need to release. And Intel, since Sandy Bridge, they've been just feeding you the same thing over and over. They've had 1 die shrink since Sandy Bridge. And 7% year-over-year improvement is not going to win you out when your competitor is tooling away feverishly. So Bendy, yeah, it's probably my nostalgia talking. I have really good nostalgic memories of GTA 3 as well, but try playing it modern day. Literally, go install it on Steam. It's like $3 on Steam, and play it, or buy it on mobile for $5. It's a terrible game today. It's horrible. It does not hold up. Played it back on the PC release, recently on PS3, now have it on PC again. It looks horrible and runs horrible. GTA 4 looks ugly, yellow, and hurts my eyes if I play it a lot. Yeah, still bought Turok 1 when it came out on PC a while back. Yeah, I played the original Turok 1 when it was first out, and it doesn't hold up today. Go buy... Now, again, there's also some very good examples of early 3D games that hold up well. A lot of racing games hold up quite well. Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, you can get that on Good Old Games right now. Go buy that game if you're a fan of the pod racing game. That holds up amazingly well and still plays very well. But one of these days we're going to find out how Spider-Man got his powers. Yep. AMD might be in trouble in 5 years since Intel stole their main people. Yeah, but Keller's jumped around before. Keller's gone from AMD to Intel before. Let's make no bones about it. AMD still has some very good people in the wings. So I think they're going to be just fine. I remember Doom on DOS. I remember Doom on DOS as well. I remember a lot of things on DOS. I remember playing the EGA graphics version of Wheel of Fortune on DOS. Try me, bro. The guy who went to Intel left us with Vega poorly done and poor drivers. No, I would not say that. Vega has proved to not scale quite as well as they had hoped. But if you look at some of the lower revisions of Vega, if you look at Vega 8, Vega 11, Vega 20, those are some amazingly good GPUs for the money. Unfortunately, you can't buy them for PC. They don't release them as a graphics card. But those are GPUs that will absolutely compete with NVIDIA at the GT 1030, GT 1050, GT 1050 Ti level, possibly even 1060 level. And they are amazingly energy efficient, and they scale very, very well. The problem is when they tried to scale up to compete with the 1070 and 1080, they drew so much power they were infeasible. However, from what I'm hearing out of the Navi camp for their next release, it's Vega on steroids with a lot less of the power draw issues. So Vega scales very well. The problem is it just drew too much power. I'm hoping with die shrinks we can get quite a bit better. And yes, sorry, 2 die shrinks in Sandy Bridge. That's still 4 too few. Or 3 too few. They should have been on... They should be closing in on 7 nanometer today like AMD is. Instead, they're struggling to get off of 14. In fact, they had to stop producing 10 because their 14 nanometer yields were still too poor and they were running out of stock and da-da-da-da-da-da. They have one mobile chip ever that's been released on 10 nanometer, and it was an i3, to tell you what their yields are for 10 nanometer. Lad, I played EGA Wheel of Fortune on an XT with a monochrome orange screen. I played it on a monochrome green, so I'm going to consider myself a master race in that regard, the D. I played Star Trek game on DOS. Yeah, I played EGA Trek. Looking forward to 14 plus. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Ooh, more Fallout drama. Unfortunately, due to unavailability of materials, we had to switch to nylon carrying case in Fallout 76 Power Armor Edition. We hope this doesn't prevent anyone from enjoying what we feel is one of our best collector's edition. The Bethesda store support member is a temporary contract employee and is not directly employed by Bethesda or Bethesda Game Studios. We apologize to the customer who took the time to reach out. The support response was incorrect and not in accordance with our conduct policy. Unfortunately, due to unavailability of materials, we had to switch to nylon, da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. So, again, Bethesda is in major damage control mode at the moment. Oh, hell, I love Jetpack. That was a great game. I think I played Jetpack on... I think that was a Macintosh LC2 is when I had Jetpack. Although I might be confusing that. I know I had a number of games on my LC2. I know I played the original Wolfenstein 3D on my Macintosh LC2. And it didn't have nearly enough horsepower to drive it technically you needed a Performa that came out a couple years later. So the way I played it was I had a 12-inch, 256 color monitor, and I had to scale down the view size to about this big to play Wolfenstein. So it wasn't within our conduct policy, but it wasn't exactly wrong either. The best response I've seen to this is, Bethesda, what are you going to do about the nylon bags? No, sarcastic, and yes, and in the parentheses, no. That was on a Reddit post. That is my favorite response to that. Found your channel a few minutes ago, LOL, and you are live. Welcome to the show, Mad Chris 49. Thanks for joining us. Stick around. What are you drinking tonight? You drinking anything? Navi is for consoles, then PC. That is good and bad. I wouldn't say that is bad because Polaris is a good architecture. People go, oh, Polaris sucks. No, Polaris is a good architecture. It's moderately efficient. It's not as efficient as it should be, but it does scale very well. And they've shown with the Polaris and the RX 590 that they're getting near 1070 like numbers. So not bad. Yeah, it's higher power draw, but it's a good platform. And Polaris is what the consoles wanted AMD to invest into, so they could build gaming consoles off of it. So anyone else play Spy Hunter? I played Spy Hunter. Let's see. Let's move on to 95 era. Let's see. My favorite Windows 95 games were obviously Descent, or Descent 2 rather, when it came out for Windows. I had the original Descent 1, which I played in DOS. And then let's see, Windows 95 Atomic Bomberman. Loved that version of the game. And then Gex Enter the Gecko. I also had Al Unser Jr. Racing, one of my first major racing games, as well as, I guess Windows 98 would have been Need for Speed 2. Need for Speed 1 I played in DOS. Or Need for Speed 3 was Windows 98 days. Yeah, Need for Speed 1 I played in DOS. Need for Speed 2 I played in Windows. Heretic inspired a lot of stuff. Heretic's a great game. Ooh, and in my Discord, Puck Branded Gaming, so his partner picked up a Macintosh LC745, a Performa CD590, or sorry, 630 CD, and a Macintosh Quadra 630. Wow, those are cool. Ooh, those are cool. Oh, and Test Drive. Thank you. I forgot about Test Drive. Windows 95, Minesweeper, and Solitaire. Those were in Windows 3.1. Catch up. Did I read the Descent novels by Peter Tellep? I did not ever read the Descent novels. Commander Keen? Oh yeah, I had all 6 of the Commander Keens, I believe. Obviously 4 was the best, Commander Keen and Dreamland. But I had all those. Half-Life in software mode, 400 by 300 because of the S3 Trio 64 card. Got an S3 Savage and NVIDIA Ventilator and saw True 3D. Very nice. Played the Shadow of the Empire demo about 100 times. I had Shadow of the Empire on the Nintendo 64. And in fact, Shadow of the Empire is now available on Good Old Games as well, if you want to replay that. That's another game that holds up decently well. The physics aren't exactly there. The jumping mechanics are really off. The gravity seems really low, and Dash Rendar seems really strong. But the vehicle modes are a heck of a lot of fun. Space Quest, nice. Hover was not a 98 graphics test. Hover was on the Windows 95 CD. And yeah, I played Hover like crazy because, again, it was one of the very first 3D games that we had ever seen. Outside of the Doom and whatnot. It's like, we have racing in 3D, and it actually is kind of fun, and doing the capture the flag style thing. It was interesting. Craft Computing, Steam Link, $2.50, worth it for the HDMI cable in the box. Pretty much. I have a Steam Link, and I actually use it from time to time, and it works quite well. It's got some glitches here and there, but it's a heck of a lot of fun. X-Wing, and the best is TIE Fighter. Honestly, I enjoyed X-Wing a little bit more. I thought the ships were a little bit more dynamic in X-Wing, where I felt like I was flying different crafts, whereas TIE Fighter, no matter what TIE I was flying, it was just the same craft. Trying really hard to get my 1700X to 3.9 gigahertz, not working. What voltage are you at? Because I've been able to get usually a pretty solid 3.9 to 4.0 on a 1700X. Although I do have one that peaked out at 17 or at 3.85. So let's see. Games like the the LucasArts Click games. Oh heck yes. My favorite one is absolutely Full Throttle. Full Throttle takes it hands down. A lot of people will say Monkey Island. A lot of people will say The Dig. And there's a couple others in there. Sam & Max is also an incredible one. Sam & Max Hit the Road is one of my favorites. Full Throttle is by far my favorite LucasArts Click game. All right, I'm going to finish this real quick and get into my next drink. Not so much of a hot toddy anymore since I made it an hour ago. Whew. Oh, just so good. Jameson Black Barrel, so good. Such a smooth, just delicious whiskey. And not that expensive, 30, 35 bucks depending on where you live. Oh, Sierra Dynamex. Torrens Passage. Look up Torrens Passage. That was a phenomenal point-and-click game with an amazing story. And you can also talk about all the King's Quest games. Minus, of course, Mask of Eternity, which I enjoyed Mask of Eternity, but it wasn't a King's Quest game, in my humble opinion. King's Quest 7. But yeah, the old Sierra point-and-click games were also amazing. Also, speaking of Dynamex, you talk about Incredible Machine. All those games. Dr. Brain was also a Sierra game, if I remember right. Am I right on that? Yeah, I think Dr. Brain was one of those two companies. Lost Mind of Dr. Brain, published by Sierra. Yep. Yeah, Lost Mind of Dr. Brain was probably the most fun, although Dr. Brain's Castle was also pretty awesome. If you have access to it on the West Coast, you should try Great Lakes Brewing Christmas Sale. I think I've seen Great Lakes Brewing around here occasionally. I don't think we get it in mass, though, although there is a market near, like 35 miles away that I could probably get it at. 1700 won't go past 3.85. Yeah, I had a hard time with the 1700 overclocking. The 1700 is not a great overclock. The 1700X was much better. But yeah, 3.8 is pretty much where I hardlined out on those. My 1700X is 4.1 at 1.425. And yeah, I think that's a pretty reasonable overclock on those. Actually, you're probably slightly on the better side. Like I said, I usually get between 3.9 and 4.0 on the 1700X. Syndicate, great game. Cannot leave out Tribes. How could I leave out Tribes? Bullfrog. Bullfrog had a great game called High Octane. And that's actually an old DOS game. And it was a 3D racing shooter where you were basically flying hover cars around this arena. And it was Mario Kart style, where you would pick up weapons and ammo and fuel and turbo boosts and whatnot, and you would destroy your other opponents as you're going around this racetrack. Amazing game, and still plays well today. That's one of those games that absolutely holds up 25 years later. But yeah, look up High Octane, Hioctane. 85 degrees under load, a healthy GPU temp? Yeah, usually. It's a little hotter than I like to run them, but honestly, if you're in the 80 to 85 range, you're doing just fine, depending on your cooler. Did I play Chopper Commando? Oh, that's one I did not play. I'm aware of Chopper Commando, but I never played it. Eye of the Beholder, nice one. All right. Drink number 2. So this one is literally just an apple cider with vodka in it. And I'm even cheating. You can probably make this at home. So I've got just the Alpine Spice Apple Cider. Pretty good stuff. 1 bag in a coffee mug. Pour in your hot water first because the vodka will not likely dissolve the powder as well as you'd like. So pour in your hot water. Stir that up a little bit. And you want to play Super Tux Kart. Super Tux Kart's a fun game. I always found, again, it to be a little bit jerky. I never liked the gameplay, and it's okay. It's okay if you're a Linux user. All right, and then once we've got that mixed up, we're going to add 2 ounces of vodka, and in this case, I'm using Smirnoff Triple Distilled 100 proof. So 1. And 2. And that's it. Get yourself a nice little cough remedy. My spoon go. There we go. Got some fresh... Yeah, if you have fresh apple cider, use fresh apple cider. And you can add just about anything to apple cider. I've done whiskey, I've done scotch, I've done vodka. I've done gin to apple cider. That's also pretty good. Let's see, bourbon, rye, whatever. Di Serono's, Amaretto's actually not bad in apple cider as well. It's a little bit thicker, a little bit more syrupy, and much more of the sickly sweet. But it's not bad. So yeah, apple cider is pretty versatile as far as putting in spirits. You could probably even do tequila, although I'm not a tequila fan. And for those wondering, yes, I am going to test SteamOS now that Proton is available. I just have not had the opportunity to get around it. apt-get install Scotch. Sorry, you don't have sudo rights. This incident will be reported, Jack Daniels. All right. And again, the water's still boiling, so. Ooh, yes. Good stuff. Okay. Let's see, hearing Darksiders 3 is a little disappointing. Anyone have it? We played Darksiders 3 at PAX, and I was pretty disappointed with it. It felt like a hack and slash gone wrong. So yeah, I was pretty disappointed with that. A. Wilson, you don't have sudo rights. This incident will be reported. I like to live dangerously. Let's see. At Jaden Smith, are you real? Jaden Smith, it's my legal name, but I am not Will Smith's son. There was actually, at one point... No, I'm not going to go into that. Screwdriver sounds good right about now. Screwdriver almost always sounds good. That's a classic, just good cocktail, just simple cocktail. Sometimes simple cocktails are the absolute best. So my wife and I went out to a restaurant locally called... the Taproot Cafe and Lounge. It's in downtown Salem, Oregon. It's just a single restaurant. It's not a chain. It's not a multi-restaurant thing. It's just a single restaurant downtown. They have some of the best pulled pork sandwiches I've ever had in my life, and they have a classical cocktail menu. In fact, I took a picture of the menu last night. Let's see. Where's the menu at? There it is. So classical cocktails. They had ready to make, and by the way, I've had a lot of the cocktails there, and they actually make them properly. They have Aviation, BFK, Champagne Cocktail, Classic Greyhound, French 75, Hemingway Martini, Lemon Drop, Mint Julep, Mimosa, Mojito, Moscow Mule, Pisco Sour, Rusty Nail, Sazerac, Sidecar, The Last Word, Tom Collins, Veracari, Whiskey Sour, and White Russian. They also had in their specialty cocktails what they call an 1868, which is a Boston Sour with a true egg white on top and bitters. A Cherry City Sour named after Salem, which is gin, lime juice, simple syrup, and cherry juice, which sounds amazing. They had a Kombucha Smash. They had... literally, you go down this list, and it's literally every single Prohibition-era cocktail you could ever want, and they make them properly. Them and Archived in downtown Salem are my two favorite bars to go to if I want a cocktail that I usually don't have the ingredients for myself or I can't make myself. Which is rare, but sometimes it happens. GTA San Andreas for 15. I would buy it. GTA San Andreas is one of the best GTA, but it doesn't hold up today. The gameplay is not good. It's not good. Try to play it. It doesn't hold up. Jack Daniels, I did accidentally perform a chmod-r and etc. instead of the directory I meant to do it in. Darksiders 3 somehow looks old, but with good graphics. And that's kind of how I thought it was. It looked beautiful. I played it on a really good monitor. And it just looked, I was just kind of disappointed with it. Hot Toddy sounds good, but I finished the Seagram 7s already. You got to go out and buy more. It's inexpensive enough. Buy the handle of Seagram 7s because that is what I use as my house whiskey. If I just want to make myself an old fashioned and I don't care what whiskey I use, I grab Seagram 7s off my shelf. If I have a bunch of guests over, for a vodka, I use the Smirnoff 100 proof triple distilled. It's a fantastic vodka, very unoffensive, pretty inexpensive for the handle. It's about $20 for the handle here. I use Seagram 7 for a house whiskey. Trying to think of what else I use for house here. For Amaretto, instead of the Di Serono, I use Di Amore, which is a great $11 Amaretto, which tastes very, very comparable to the Di Serono. I will say it's like 90% as good for a third the price. I will be one day doing a $100 bar episode on my channel. So trying to break into kind of the craft cocktail aspect of the channel, where I will show you what liquors to buy. If you have $100, what can I build for a bar? And what drinks can I make from that bar? And then maybe make a couple examples. That's a video idea I've had floating around for a while. That's good vodka, can confirm. Awesome. Let's see. What else you guys want to talk about? Dark Souls 3, $15. Yeah, get Dark Souls 3. That's a fun game if you are a masochist. What else you guys want to talk about? I got a little bit of time left. I'm not going to stay on until 10 o'clock. So I'm not going to stay on another 40 minutes, but I'll probably stay on another 15, 20. I want to get to bed. Sounds like a great video, Jeff. Yeah, it's been one that it's been kicking around in the back of my mind for a little while. I just need to sit down and do it. So basically what I've done is I will go out and I'll buy a $35 bottle of something, of whether it's a whiskey or a vodka or a gin or a tequila or whatever it happens to be, a rum. And I'll go, okay, that's what a proper rum should taste like, or that's what a proper gin should taste like. I'll then start stepping my price down. So I start with a decently good bottle of something, and what people agree is a good bottle. So I'll do some research and go, what's a good bottle of whiskey? Oh, Four Roses is amazing, or Buffalo Trace is a great rye, or Elijah Craig is a great all-around, or this or that. And I'll go, okay, let me try the Elijah Craig. And I'll try that, and I'll start picking out notes, and I'll go, okay, I really like this about it, I don't like this about it, but overall, that's a solid whiskey. I'll then go out and I'll just buy a $25 bottle of whiskey, and I'll taste it, and I'll go, yeah, it's okay. And then I'll buy a $20 bottle of whiskey, and then a $17 bottle of whiskey, and then a $15 bottle of whiskey. And I'll see how far down I can go and what notes I'm still picking out that are pleasant and what notes that are unpleasant, and what I'm willing to sacrifice, and how I would drink that whiskey, whether it's straight or in a shot or in a cocktail or however I would drink it, and go, is it acceptable at that level? And is it 90% as good as I'm getting for the $35 bottle, but at a $15 bottle price? And I've done that with a number of different spirits. With vodka, I've actually, hold on, I've got another bottle. So this is one of the cheapest liquors that I buy regularly, and it is Oregon Springs vodka. Ironically enough, it's bottled in San Jose, California. But they call it Oregon Springs, product of the USA. It's 40% alcohol, so it's an 80 proof vodka, distilled from 100% grain. This is like $14 for a handle, which is why I buy a handle of it. It's like $9 for a fifth. This is actually pretty solid vodka. I don't recommend just like sitting down and pouring this into a snifter glass and like sitting there and enjoying it. It's not terrible to drink straight, but for any drink you need vodka in, this is pretty darn solid. And it's a heck of a lot less expensive than even the Smirnoff triple distilled, because this is like I said, like an $18 or $20 bottle. So I narrowed my vodka all the way down to $14 for a handle. And you can do a lot of the same things with like this Seagram 7s. Seagram 7s is an American whiskey. It's a blended whiskey. It has a lot of the notes in a whiskey that you're looking for in a cocktail, and none of the offensive things that make a cheap whiskey bad, like a Canada Black Velvet or that god-awful McAfee's Benchmark that I tried. Those are offensive whiskeys. Those have notes that are just bad, that are game-breaking on them. Whereas the Seagram 7s, it's a fairly smooth whiskey. I can drink it straight. I can shoot it. I can mix it in a cocktail. It doesn't detract from any of my drinks at all. It's a fine whiskey, and it's like $16-17 for a handle of it. And so if I don't feel like spending $8 on a drink at home, that's what I use, and it's fantastic. So I've done a lot of, like I said, the name of my channel is Craft Computing, and the icon is a beer glass. We drink a lot of beer on this channel because beer is very accessible to the normal person. A lot of people kind of shy away from liquors and cocktails and things like that. But the reason I named my channel Craft Computing is I enjoy the craft of things, not just craft beer, but craft cocktails, and the idea of crafting computers and doing a good job at them. I've built some pretty amazing $100 computers in my day that are perfectly cable managed and very capable of playing games or doing the process that I built them for. I enjoy the craftsmanship that goes into things, regardless of what it is. In a past life, I was a CNC operator, and I loved that job because I was making things with this giant machine that were impossible to make by hand. And that was just a lot of fun for me. And so that's really the basis of my channel. It's not because I wanted to get drunk on camera. I don't like to get drunk. But I do enjoy the craft of what went into a beer or a liquor or a cocktail, or how do you make something. That is so enjoyable to me on a visceral level. Repeating these in case you missed them. Do I have the Star Trek Omnipedia CD? I do not. I don't have that CD. I do have somewhere the Star Trek 25th anniversary. I think it was 25th. No, it was 40th anniversary. 40th anniversary encyclopedia. And I also have a full printed set of Star Trek of the Enterprise D blueprints. And John and I have actually poured over some of the blueprints here. Zach, good day from Australia. Good day. How's it going, Zach? Anyway, let's see. Did I stick the Corsair LL120s in my Inwin 303? Or did I swap them for something else? What am I using in the Corsair LL120? I think I'm using my Arctic fans. Yeah, I'm using the Arctic F12s, which are on Amazon, and they're some of the best performing fans that you can get for pretty inexpensive if you buy the multi-pack. If you buy them individually, they're like $15 individually, or you can get a 5-pack for $25. So for a 120 mil fan, they're pretty amazing. They provide a decent amount of static pressure. I would use them on rads, maybe not in a high performance system, but for an average system, absolutely. And when I say average, I mean 8700K and below. You could probably use them just fine. So you should build a PC with whiskey in it. Mad Chris, check out my video history. It might surprise you. That video's in there. Did I try Vinport's Blood Wine? I've never had Vinport's Blood Wine. I do know of its existence, but I've never been able to try it. Have I thought about brewing and distilling on my own? I have thought about it. Honestly, if I were to want to get into it, I would probably get into distilling because the craft of distilling intrigues me much more than the craft of brewing. Unfortunately, it's a much more difficult craft to get into, and there's a lot more federal regulations preventing you from distilling. So I would love to. Maybe one day. It's kind of in the back of my mind for a possible business venture. But likely it's not going to happen. Let's say I get 3 or 5 or 7 million subscribers one day. Sure. I'll spend $1 million and I'll build myself a distillery and we'll go ham wild, and then I'll become a media sensation with craft computing whiskey or vodka or rum or whatever the hell I want to produce. But probably wouldn't make financial sense because I don't know what I'm doing. I would need to hire a distill master, a whiskey master, a brew master, someone to do that. We've talked about opening a brewery. We've talked about when I open studio space, doing a brewery in the back side of it and brewing our own beer and being able to sell that at a tap house or something like that. I've considered that as well. At the moment, when it comes to the liquor industry and the brew industry, my name doesn't mean anything. And so slapping my name on the side of a whiskey label doesn't mean anything. Maybe one day it will, today it doesn't. And so until that day happens, it really doesn't make financial sense because that's not my primary business venture. Wish more cases allowed installation of a single DVD drive. Yeah. That's one of the reasons I still have one of my old Thermaltake cases around is for ripping my DVD collection. I own something like 600 DVDs and I've only ripped about 200 of them to Plex. So I need to get ripping some more. But yeah, I'm able to put 3 DVD drives into that or Blu-ray drives into the one machine. Still on my next generation DVD box set. Nice. You need to get the Blu-rays because the Blu-rays remastered are so amazingly good. Tried making hard cider 2 times. It was nasty. Yeah. John and Steve both brew their own beer, and they've actually done some really good stuff. John has an amazing tepache recipe, which is like a Mexican pineapple cider. I've had Steve's hard cider before. His was pretty good. John's made an IPA that I really enjoyed. Steve made a blonde not long ago, I think it was, that was really good. So yeah. Yes, it is an interest of mine. I would love to try to do it someday. Unfortunately, as far as distilling goes, I literally cannot get into it myself because it's illegal. Because of 1850s era regulations on it, when they wanted to tax grain liquor, it's illegal to brew moonshine. It's illegal to distill any spirit for the form of, or for the purpose of consumption. I can distill my own essential oils, but I can't distill alcohol to make it more alcohol rich. I can't brew a beer and then distill the beer down. I can't take a spirit off the store shelves and distill it further by freezing it, which freezer distilling is a method, or further distilling it down. It is literally illegal. It's stupid, but it's illegal. Something that is legal for me to buy off the store shelves, I should be able to make in my home tax-free as long as I'm not selling it. If I wanted to sell it, absolutely it should be taxed. But I think the laws are kind of antiquated, and unfortunately the laws aren't going to change, and the distillation industry isn't going to allow home distillers to start making their own because that cuts into their profits. Because every bottle of whiskey I make for myself is a bottle of whiskey I'm not buying from MGP. Oh, that's good. Just vodka and apple cider. Cheap vodka, cheap apple cider at that. I do have audio-video sync issues from time to time. Hold on. Oh, that's good. Just vodka and apple cider. Yeah, it's slightly off. I don't know why YouTube decides at random it likes my stream and then it doesn't like my stream. It's frustrating because my audio sync can go from 100 millisecond to 0 millisecond to anywhere up to, I've had it 1 second off before. And I use the same exact streaming settings, the same exact PC every single time to encode my stream. I'm using NVENC on a GTX 1050 Ti. I'm using a dedicated audio in card. XSplit just sucks at syncing my audio, I guess. Or feeding it to YouTube in a form that they like. But I am using the recommended codecs for uploading to YouTube Live. I'm using recommended settings for the bitrate that I'm streaming at. YouTube just doesn't like it, or XSplit doesn't like it, or a combination of the two. I don't know, and it pisses me off. Yeah, some people are saying sync is good. I just tested mine. Mine's about probably 1/3 of a second off. So the audio's 1/3 of a second in front of the video. Freeze distillation can produce some wonderful stuff. I wouldn't know anything about that. Nope, I don't even know of the process. What's freeze distillation? In Germany, you only need a license for distilling. I need a license for distilling here as well, but there's a whole host of regulations that goes with getting that license. It is not easy to go legitimate for distilling in the United States. Want some Kush? Can I tell you something? Sure. Since you're the only person on Twitch chatting right now. Sync is much better now. I didn't touch anything. I didn't touch it. Like I said, YouTube sometimes just hates my stream, and I don't know why. I'm reading and listening. Out of sync doesn't matter. Well, thank you. Oh. Puck Branded Gaming. Craft Computing. Would I like the Omnipedia? It's still sealed. Yes? Let's see. Comes and goes, but it's okay. Better the response than you gave me 2 weeks ago. So better not mention the out of sync. Yeah. Yeah, same where he lives in Norway. It's almost impossible. Yeah, Norway has some pretty hardcore regulations as far as... is freeze distillation technically even distillation? Yes. Yes, it is. I actually looked up the laws recently on that. Sorry. All right. At Puck Branded Gaming, my PO box is literally pinned to the Craft Computing text channel in Discord. So look it up. All right. What else do we have to talk about? I got like 5 more minutes here. What goes good with Everclear? Pretty much the same thing that goes good with vodka, as long as you don't mind the burning. Washington has some good wine. Oregon has some good wine. We live right on the edge of wine country here. Kool-Aid. Hawaiian Punch goes well with Everclear. Nothing goes good with Everclear. That's also a good answer. Yeah. Gatorade, yeah. Most fruit things are going to go well with Everclear. So, Marcel, I'm here. How's it going, Marcel? All right. Anyone else have anything else to talk about? So I got a... Thoughts on small PCs, Jeff? I love small PCs. Depends on what small PC you're talking about. Jasu Sense just built his ITX water-cooled PC with an integrated Swift Tech block pump combo. That thing was pretty freaking badass. I love small PCs because they're an engineering challenge. Getting high performance out of small parts is pretty sweet. My workstation that I built myself at work is in the Fantex. What is that? The ITX vertical tower. Gosh, I'm forgetting the name of it. Fantex Stealth. Shift. The Fantex Shift. Mine's the Shift with the 120mm fan, not the 240 version. But I've got the ASRock X.299 mini ITX board in there with 64 gigs of SODIMM memory in quad channel, running a 7820X with a Deepcool AIO and a EVGA GTX 1070. That's my workstation at work. Oh, and it's got a 1TB NVMe on it as well. It's got an SFX power supply. I believe it's one of the Corsair SFX power supplies. I believe it's their 450 model, 450 maybe 500 watt, something like that. Yeah, Shift X. Thank you. It's a pretty cool little box. I've been really happy with it. And I use the same monitor at work as well. Actually, I bought the monitor for myself at work, and I loved it so much I bought myself one for home. So, 4930K too old for 4K gaming. Actually, your CPU matters so much less than it does than your GPU. Your GPU is going to be your bottleneck for gaming. Be all, end all, period, end of discussion. No, your 4930K will perform about as well as a 2600K will at 4K gaming, believe it or not. As long as you have 4 cores and more than likely 8 threads, you're going to be fine for 4K gaming. If you have a 4-core 4-thread, you're going to be pushing a lot of games, but modern day, really you need more than 4 threads today to do 4K gaming. But yeah, 4930K, you're fine. Get yourself a 1080 Ti, a 2080 Ti. You're going to be golden for 4K. I've officially made your night, Jaden. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Phones are challenging small Linux PCs, Cap. I want a 104 key mechanical keyboard, but they're so freaking expensive. Don't care about RGB, but finding them for under $100 seems... Scott, check out my Gamdius Hermes P2 review. It's an $80 104 key full mechanical keyboard with a green optical switch that feels absolutely amazing. It has been my daily driver since I reviewed that keyboard legitimately. Go check out that video. $80, best keyboard I've ever used. Let's see. Where do you think Bill Gates' secret sex dungeon is located? Boy, that's a good question. What RAM speed would you run with a Ryzen 7 to get the most out of it? Is faster better? Yes, faster is better. More so even than low latency. If you can get a 3200 kit of a CL15, CL16 memory, and depending on what Ryzen 7 you have, the original Ryzen 7s, the 1700, 1700X, 1800X, struggled to get past 3000. They would sometimes get to 32, but it was kind of limited. If you're talking about a 2700X, start with 3200, maybe even go like 3466. Memory speed is way more important than latency on the Ryzen Infinity Fabric. And the Zen Plus architecture did very well at RAM speed. So yeah, the faster the better. Don't go too fast. Don't buy like a 4200 kit because that's just freaking stupid. But 3200, 3466, something right in there, you're going to be golden on a Ryzen 7 chip. Let's see. I'll do 2 more questions, then I'm going to call it a night. Let's see. Sorry. Saw a couple up here and they went away. Let's see. Yeah, co-hosts are sick. Sorry. Mechanical keyboard, $39. Gigabyte K83 with Cherry MX Reds. If you're into gaming, the Reds are nice. I actually don't like Reds. I can't stand typing on them. And even for gaming, they're too light for me. I don't like them. But $39 is not a bad value for that keyboard either. What would be a good GPU for an i7-2600? You haven't given me enough information there. An i7-2600 is still fairly competent as a CPU for gaming. What resolution are you at and what games are you trying to play? Honestly, a 2600 will support up to a 1080 pretty easily for 1080p gaming. It's probably going to struggle with a 1080 Ti, but if you're gaming at 1440, you're going to be fine with that CPU for quite a long time, actually. Excuse me. I have an Acer Predator, sorry, $5, Cougar Stable 73, $5. I have an Acer Predator with a 1063 gig and want to get a new card. What tips can you share? How do I install one? Literally just drop the new card in. So if you have an Acer Predator, I'm assuming you have like one of their 24-inch 144 hertz. So you're going for like high-end 1080p gaming, I'm going to assume. If you have one of their 1440s, that's a different discussion. But if you have their 1080p, literally just drop your card in. If you're going Pascal drivers to Pascal drivers, you're going to just swap them right out. It'll probably actually auto-install that card just fine using your existing NVIDIA drivers. But 1070 is great. 1080 is great for that. And actually maybe even like a 2070 would be fine. Is your Acer Predator G-Sync? That's another consideration between going AMD versus NVIDIA. If you have G-Sync, go with an NVIDIA card. Maybe an RTX 2070. Because that card's got pretty incredible power to it for about $500 with the like the EVGA XC Black. Good looking card. Yeah, no, you should be able to swap that out pretty easy. Let's see. Hope I feel better soon. Thanks for being a trooper and streaming tonight. Great stream as usual. Thank you so much. And actually, I'm holding what is like my largest concurrent stream ever. We actually broke 112 people tonight on a concurrent stream. So I'm really excited that you guys came out to join me, even though I feel like garbage. So thank you guys so much. All right, last question. Ryzen 7 1700 and a 1070 just bought a G-Sync 1440p and the experience has been awesome. Yes. Don't just drop it in, it will break it. Yeah, thanks. Is there a 2070 MXM card? No, there's no mobile RTX cards yet. Acer makes a Predator series of cards. So I'm talking to the D right now. Google tells me the Predator is a laptop. Yes, the Predator is a laptop. There's also the Acer Predator monitor series, which is a series of monitors that's their high-end gaming monitors. And usually they're 120 hertz and up. So they have 120 and 144 hertz. Starting at 24 inch, they go 120, 144 hertz. They've got a 27 inch 1080. They've got a 27 inch 1440, and they've got a 34 inch both in 1080 and 1440 resolutions in the ultra wides. So yeah, there's a good number of monitors in the Predator series as well. So like I said, I'm assuming he has a desktop. I'm assuming he's upgrading to something like a 1080, like a 1080 Ti, like a 2070, something in that range to go with a much higher frame rate. Jeff, will the show be on next week? Absolutely, and I believe Steve is scheduled for next week. And hopefully Steve doesn't get sick this week. He's like the only one that wasn't sick. So John was sick. John woke up this morning and could barely talk, could barely move. I woke up, I wasn't feeling well. I've got a sore throat. My wife is not feeling well. My 18-month-old threw up all over her crib about 4 o'clock this morning, and has thrown up throughout the day. And Steve was feeling fine, but he had other commitments tonight. And Rhett is still out of the country. Well, Rhett will actually be back in the country this weekend, and I know he is looking forward to getting back on terra firma. So Rhett, safe travels. Hope you're back soon. Anyway, I think that is going to do it. What processor would I recommend for a 12 camera 4K blue iris server? Honestly, just something that's multi-threaded. If you go X79, you can actually get an E5 2650, pretty inexpensive for like 40 or 50 bucks. That's an 8-core 16-thread processor that's pretty low volt. It's a 95 watt TDP processor that runs at 2 gigahertz. That's a pretty good chip for that. If you're looking brand new, the Xeon D series, the 1541 Xeon D, is also an 8-core 16-thread. That should be able to handle that pretty well as far as multi-threaded goes. Those you can get in super micro boards for about $400 or $500. So the Xeon 1541. And yeah, if I don't leave now, I probably never will. So thank you all so much for joining episode 59 of Craft Computing Talking Heads. I'm Jeff, and I'm drinking an apple cider with vodka in it because I feel like garbage. But guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you joining me every single week here. Next Wednesday, same bat time, same bat channel, 8 p.m. Pacific. Check me out on Patreon if you're interested in financially backing the channel. $1 donation gets you exclusive access to the Discord server where you can chat with me almost 24 hours a day. I really don't sleep all that much, as well as the other hosts from Talking Heads. We're all on there throughout the day, pretty much 24 hours a day. You can catch one of us. Yeah, beyond that, if you have anything you want to send me, if you have any local beer, local spirits you'd like to send me, I do have a P.O. box in the video description. I'd be more than happy to sample those on the show. We do enjoy gifts of booze from time to time, or things like that. Anyway, thank you guys so much, and we will see you next Wednesday. Cheers, guys. Wrong mouse.